Today we're going to be doing a little bit on the invasive species garlic mustard. We have plenty of it in the park, so we definitely won't run out of activity to do today. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about garlic mustard because the biggest thing is we're out there educating people about this plant because it is all over Johnson County and it's something that those of us that are in the conservation field are I'm slightly concerned, to say the least of it. I brought a lot of publications with me today, and I hope you take them home. I hope you take some to hand out to others. The Johnson County Conservation Department is going to be a repository for as much literature on garlic mustard as we can possibly get a hold of, and we're going to be doing a lot of educational campaigns, getting this information out to other organizations, to other agencies, and to individuals that are interested in learning about garlic mustard and that campaign to, I don't want to say eradicate because I don't know if that's possible, but to reduce its spread. So we have invasive plants and animal species for the state of Iowa poster that has information about each of the plants and animal species. We have a garlic mustard card from the Sierra Club and the Iowa Department of Natural Resources that tells you a little bit about the identification of it. We've got a brochure, The Major Threat of Wisconsin Woodlands on garlic mustard. Obviously, they're fighting the same campaign that we are. We've got some great little, they look like baseball cards, and I really like to give these to people. They work really well for people that are hikers. If you're going out on the trails, if you know somebody that is a very busy person that couldn't be here today, that needs to know what garlic mustard is, even to stay out of it, even if they aren't going to be involved in the campaign to pull it and remove it, just to stay out and reduce their threat as a spreading vector. We need to educate people on that as well. We've also got a life cycle here that Connie Mutel put together that tells of some of the different treatments that we can do for garlic mustard throughout the year, because garlic mustard does stay green throughout the entire winter. So it's kind of a weird plant that way. And then an article that Carol Fuller put together. There are also some websites that are available on here, and then we also have the card from Hickory, Friends of Hickory Hills Park, and it also has, is this the one that has a recipe on it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking, they both have the same direction here. But anyway, there's a recipe on the back of the card there. Yeah, turn a pest into pesto. So even have a recipe. It'd take a lot of people eating garlic mustard to eradicate a lot of it, but there's an option for you to take it over to somebody's house and feed it to them and make them like it so much that they're going to be coming and looking for it. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be pulling garlic mustard. Garlic mustard is a plant that is very invasive. Any slight disturbance in the ground seems to open up the soil to the garlic mustard seed, and it readily sprouts. This is a biennial plant. So in the first years, we're going to be seeing it as a small rosette coming out of the ground. It has a scallop-shaped leaf, very bright green. And then as it grows, it's going to develop into a stalk with a white flower. It's about 3 feet tall. And the problem with the removal of it is a lot of times people remove it, throw it down on the ground. It will continue growing. And the seeds, even after it's been pulled, the seeds will go to maturity even after it's been pulled out of the ground. So a lot of times we have to remove it from the site, place it in a garbage bag, and send it to our landfills or do some other activity with it, such as burning. We do need to make sure if we're burning it to get it thoroughly dried to burn it down. Today we're going to be bagging it. We don't have the seed to worry about, but I just don't trust this plant, to be honest with you. So we're going to be bagging it and removing it from the site. I'll take you over here because we have a great infestation over on our little hillside right next to the shelter. So we're going to take a look at it in the ground, see what it looks like, show you how to pull it out of here, and what we're going to be doing with it. One big thing in Johnson County is we have a lot of these little valley areas where am I losing that there? A lot of little valley areas behind people's homes that don't get a lot of attention. And so a lot of times those add to the spread. These seeds do float, and so they can spread right on down the creeks and streams that we have. This is a garlic mustard plant here. It's a very young one. You can see our entire hillside here has been covered with this plant. And it hasn't been that much time, I'm sure, since it moved in here. The big problem with garlic mustard, it will overtake this ground. It will block out any other natural native plants from growing and basically destroy any natural habitat for insects or other organisms that would naturally live here. So we need to get this stuff out of here. Basically what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be finding the base of the plant and we're going to be pulling up on it. It does have a very large taproot here. Okay, you see that one broke off a little bit. Hopefully it broke off deep enough that it'll die off. Some of them can regenerate from those pieces of broken off root. That's one reason we are concerned with it. A couple other applications you can do with this. The use of chemicals, if you want to get that drastic with these plants, you can directly apply these, and Connie Mutel is documented on that sheet in there at different times of the year when the native plants have gone dormant. These will stay green for long periods of time. One big thing we don't want to do is go in here and disturb this soil bed, because basically what we'll be doing is once we disturb this, these things produce hundreds of thousands of seeds. It's just a seed producing machine. What we're doing is we're disturbing the soil again, and those new seeds will then germinate. So if we do pull it up and it does pull a lot of the soil loose and disturbs it a lot, what we want to do is step that back down or pat it back down to develop a compact surface so we're not stirring up seeds that are deeper embedded in this soil bank. So that's basically what we're going to be doing today. If you want to know, there are a couple plants that this can be mistaken with. Creeping Charlie is one of them. Sometimes people mistake the violets. If they really haven't been out here, they'll say, oh, that's violets obviously are much easier to identify, but for somebody that has never seen this stuff, they may misidentify that. One way you can always tell is if you can take some of this and roll it between your fingers, especially this time of the year. It does have a very pungent garlic smell to it, so you guys can pass that around, and it is edible. So that's how it got here. The nice European settlers brought it over here for us to eat. So it's probably my grandpa's fault or something.
So all those little tiny plants around there are garlic mustard.
Even these ones that are still yellowing. Yep, they're crawling down even into the ground here. But yes, these are garlic mustard plants. You can see they're germinating beneath all the leaf litter here, just beginning to pop up. So we have a lot of them right here on this hillside that are taking over. And that's one area of big concern. If we go out along the trail, any place where there's disturbance, whether it's natural, an animal has been digging in the woods, or we've gone in and done something for management of a woodland area, we're always concerned with the incoming invasive plant species. And we have numerous invasive plant species in the state of Iowa. That poster in there will show you a few of them. But this is what we're really after today. We have a vegetation specialist out at Kent Park that is much more knowledgeable in this information than I am. So if anybody has further really in-depth questions, we can have you contact him and talk to him. But this is what we're after today. Does anybody have any other questions on what we're going to be doing?
If you're trying to eradicate it in a large ravine area, what would be the chemical of choice if you go to chemical?
Roundup is the chemical that most people use because it is a site, touch it to the plant, and then that's what you want to do. The big thing with garlic mustard, it is, you can't get it all at once. You're going to have to come back and do several treatments, maybe several years in a row. It's much similar to a thistle. You're not going to eradicate thistle populations just like that. It's going to be several treatments. Scary problem.
Just say something about, one of the things that I'm concerned with is when people eradicate it, like particularly when you're talking about in a large area like a ravine. Also the idea, and I think this is something we're trying to do out at Hickory Hill Park, is you have to encourage something else to grow there.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that. Like, it's not really, in your yard you could just pull it and get rid of it, but maybe in larger areas you have to think about
Reestablishment. Yeah, one big thing is a lot of times where these plants come in is there has been some type of disturbance. and they are moving into an area, and they're going to outcompete the natural vegetation. Once you do remove these, you do need to come back in with some type of natural ground cover again. So you may determine what was naturally in your area, whether that be woodland wildflowers or some other plant, and you need to aggressively procure that growth of that plant. And that's going to help you. And, you know, as at the same time, you're going to be continually removing garlic mustard as it pops up into your area. And so, you know, what we're doing today is we're going to be going after small tracts. This plant, I hiked Hickory Hill last night, and it's spreading throughout the entire park. What we're going to be going after is small tracts today. We're going to try to eliminate as much as we can by physical pulling, and I'm sure that this is going to come back and it'll green up again, and you guys will have to come back and do some more physical removal of this. We're also going to be doing several more topics out at Kent Park on this issue. Next weekend, April 19th, we're going to have Chris Evans from the Iowa State University's Forestry Department, and he's going to be talking about invasive species mapping in the state of Iowa. The following weekend, we're going to be doing an invasive species walk and talk, and Dave Wade, our vegetation specialist, will be there, and he'll be talking about a lot of the invasive species we have at Kent Park and our management and removal of those plant species and reestablishment of different plant species, prairies, woodland plants, and even wetland plants in some cases. So we're really pushing this very hard this year as a big campaign across Johnson County, and awareness and education is our first and primary activity, and then the further management of that is down the road. There are companies that are starting to look into this, and I don't want to give them a free plug on TV, but watch your local advertisements for companies that are going to be starting garlic mustard removal services and treatment services.
At this point in their development, they won't go ahead and produce seeds.
No, this is a very young stage here, and there's a sheet in there, a white sheet that Connie Mutel's put out. She is giving you different treatment options throughout the entire year, from January to December. And there are certain times of the year you don't want to go out and pull this, because basically you're doing more harm than you are good. So this time of the year, we're trying to get this green plant that's when it's just starting growth here. We're going to try to give some other plants a chance to get out of the ground that maybe, you know, we have some bed straw, it looks like, trying to pop through here, some different native plants that are popping through the soil. We want to give them a chance. We'll probably have to come back out here and continually remove this, and then after a while it's going to put up a big seed stock, and once that seed stock has put seeds on it, we're basically, if we're going to remove it, we're going to bag it and then take it out, because we don't want to spread any of those seeds. They're the size of pepper, and so they can go all over the place. We really don't know, you know, some of the other animals that are transferring this from site to site, dogs, deer. We're really not sure, but it is moving very quickly.
If you use a herbicide, you know, like Roundup or something, it's going to kill other things here too, right?
That's why we're doing it at different times of the year when the native plants are dormant. Native plants, basically it needs something to pull it down into its root system. Since these plants do stay green and they have a little activity going on, it will absorb it then. The plants, when they're dormant, they will not absorb it. So we're going to be treating it when the native plants are dormant, and Connie really outlined that. That's the whole reason she put together that different treatment schedule throughout the years to educate people. Because, yeah, we don't want to come in here and kill all the native plants that we want here. So that's our big push there.
And how long are the seeds viable? I mean, more than one season?
We're thinking about 7 years. Yeah. So, you know, quite some time. At least that's the last literature I've seen is about 7 years. So that's the thing. It's not a one-time cure-all. Once it's here, that's why it's very, you know, on a high concern, is because it is so viable and it stays around for so long and can do so much damage.
When did it first become a problem that was recognized?
I can't really give you the documented date of when it first became a real big problem. As I said, I moved down here in September, and in northwest Iowa, we're not even really aware of this issue. First of all, we don't have the woodlands. Most of the stuff I dealt with prairies. I do know that it has been in the state of Iowa for some time now, 5-7 years, I think, roughly. And we've been increasing the campaign, the educational campaign since that time. And it's really getting pushed hard now.
And how high is the seed stalk when it becomes a stalk?
About 3 feet tall is what, so it does get very large. They said you guys collected some of that last year and took out quite a few bags of the big stuff. This year we're going to be removing some smaller stuff. So although we may not be removing as many bags, we still hope to have a pretty large impact. And if there's brochures or anything we run out of here today, like I said, we're going to try to be a repository for this information. If you know others or have anybody that has a question about this stuff, please have them give us a call. Our phone number out at Kent Park is 319-645-2315. And they can get a hold of us there, and we'll mail them information. I'll bring it in and hand deliver it. We just want to educate people on this plan and the dangers that it has. All right. Yes.
Do you want us to stay together pretty much?
We'll probably select a few good sites. Sarah is aware of several throughout the park that we can pull on. This one here is going to offer a lot of opportunity, so we can start right here at the entrance. And I'm always most concerned with places which have the most activity. And because this is right near the park entrance here, there's a nice shelter here. You're going to have dogs, you're going to have people coming through this area, and if we allow this stuff to go to seed stock here, and this is a biennial plant, so we're going to have some variance, but if we allow this stuff, we're just opening, this is at the gate of the park, and so this is what's going to get carried into the park.
If we're on our own, I would think we might try to get to the perimeters and draw the perimeters in by getting those isolated patches eradicated.
You bet. And even I've seen quite a bit of growth and spread along the trails, because that's where people and animals move, is along the trail system. So if we can get it off the edges of the trails and keep it from moving in.
There was a substantial amount of it by the cemetery entrance.
Really?
I stayed up there quite a while.
Yeah, and see, I didn't even get to that end of the park the other night. We made a loop, and then we went over to the retention basin, and there's small patches of it everywhere. So, all right. Well, if we don't have any questions, I don't want to spend.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
I do have one.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is a multi-year process. How are we going to know when we're winning and when we're losing?
Is that a trick question here? Basically, we're never going to defeat this beast. It's just like the Canadian thistle.
So this is an every-year activity.
This is. We better start feeds on this. Instead of having pancake feeds like the high school's doing this year, we better have pesto and spaghetti sauce. Yes, this is going to be a recurring activity. It's going to take a lot more. And the big thing is there's not enough managers out there, natural resource managers out there, park personnel out there that can, we just need everybody's help. This is a community effort. We need everybody involved with this. And the big thing is just to be aware, try not to spread it. And then, we're going to have to work every year at different locations. It's just not here. It's just not at Kent Park. It's in private property. It's in areas that people aren't even aware that they have this plant. And as long as it's there, it's going to continue to spread.
Okay, my question is about the spreading of it. If we come here, like say I come here next Saturday, I've got my plastic bag and all. Now what am I supposed to do with this? I cannot send it to the dump. I can't put it in the trash can here. You see, because if it goes to the dump, it's liable to get in the air and.
At the dump, we're actually landfilling it. What the studies have shown is there's not enough heat produced in compost to kill the seeds. So basically your compost, if you compost it and move it into your garden, you just planted a garden of garlic mustard, and we don't want that. So we are bagging this, we are removing it, we are finding, very similar to people talking about chronic wasting disease, all of a sudden we're putting deer in landfill because we don't know what to do with them. This is something that is going to go to the landfill. We're going to bag this and take it there, and hopefully it'll be buried, it'll be isolated, and we won't have to deal with that problem.
And if
you tie it up in a bag and you put it in the dumpsters out here, they will take it because they pick up our, you know, when we clean the park and stuff, they pick up those garbage bags and they know that we're doing this out here.
And yeah, they're well aware of.
Okay, so but the yard bags, when I'm at home, you know, and I put it, I shouldn't put it in with it.
It should go in with your trash.
Garbage.
It should go in with your garbage, not your compost bags or your yard waste bags, because those do go out to the landfill and they are composted. And that's not where we want it. We want it in the landfill, buried.
What about areas that you can burn yard waste?
It does not, areas that you can burn, the fires, we can burn it. You need to make sure it's thoroughly dried. And then you probably, I would even, you know, like I said, I don't trust this thing. It's a Houdini. I would even take some of that, possibly that ash, clean that up and dispose of that trash. I just don't trust this enough yet. I don't think we know everything about it yet, and we really need to be very careful with it. Uh-huh.
I have a quick question about another plant. and
Okay.
That's purple loosestrife.
Okay.
That's the problem here, too, like every place. I have seen, just a couple of days ago in a nursery, I saw loosestrife plants for sale.
Yes.
They tell me there are kinds that are non-invasive. Is that right? I didn't look at the plant.
That I couldn't tell you. They can still sell it as a, in several places, I believe. I don't know if the law's changed yet. They still can sell that as a plant. The places that it's invasive is along water areas, lakes, ponds, streams, stuff like that, wetlands.
But it's not wise to sell.
I wouldn't suggest it. You know, and you can check on the different species there, but I would be very leery of it. Mhm. All right. Well, otherwise, let's make a campaign. You ever take a willow stick after you cut it down, just laid it on the ground? Take off. This is like 10 times worse. Here, if anybody wants to see the difference between the garlic mustard and the creeping Charlie, here's the two differences.
Yeah, I'm going to stay around.
Between
The
creeping-
leaf itself actually is very, very similar.
Very similar, but you can tell the difference, yes. Creeping Charlie is very filamentous roots, tendrils. This one has a lot of, more of a taproot. But definitely, just pull the leaf off and give it a smell. You can definitely tell the difference.
I do, but I assume they'll bring them back.
All right, good. Or if anybody asks me, I'm going to
But you can eradicate both, right?
Yeah, you can eradicate both if you want. Out here, I'll deal with the creeping Charlie later.
It was brought over to this country.
Yeah. And lots of flavor in it.
Come on, Dad.
Okay.
You have to do it, too.
There's lots of flavor in it, doesn't it?
It does. It actually
There's a
is that.
recipe. Why don't you take it home to your mom?
We
There's
have
a
some.
recipe over there on
we
the
have plenty.
table.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, eat some more. It's not that bad.
Oh, come on, man.
Chicken?
Okay, guys, let's get back to work.
One of the things that Friends of Hickory Hill Park is working on is Diana Horton at the University of Iowa, who is in the biology department, is doing, along with an honor student, they're doing a plant inventory of the park. And so hopefully by this fall, they're going to have written up a management plan for the park so that instead of just having these annual pulls, hopefully something else we can get into doing is sort of restoring the native woodland out here so that it has a chance to kind of compete with the plant. We may have to think about things like spraying. You know, I'm not a fan of that, but that's something that people need to think about. And I'm just hoping people will come out in the spring and see, in a few weeks, you're going to be able to see all kinds of native wildflowers out here and understand what's going to happen if this plant takes over. So that's our main concern. So basically, this is what we're pulling, but all of these little seedlings, all of this that you're seeing that I'm pulling out, this is all garlic mustard. Like anything that is green around this is garlic mustard. So all these little seedlings, and you can just see when you look out that way,
Because right now
this just kind of faint green
native
carpet.
stuff that's greened up already. So we'd be coming in here and you'd be killing everything. Yeah, this is where you guys pulled last year?
I was feeling so good about it when I just saw these few rosettes, and then I was like, what are all those little seedlings?
Thanks.
Don't say that those are a million little garlic mustards that I get to pull next year, except...
And see, this is what scares me. You see, amongst these, we have a little bit of bed straw coming in here. You're probably gonna lose that to being out competed.
Yeah.
And that's what we want here. That's, you know, the cool stuff. That's what the settlers made their beds out of.
So what, after we pull today, what would the next step be to deal with this? I mean, do we just let it come up and deal with it later? I mean, what?
Yeah, that's basically your only option right now. You know, and it's hard to say. I mean, these are, you know, this is the issues.
Yeah.
Dealing
This is
with
where you
the-
have to decide whether you want to spray or not.
This
Yeah.
is the thing where you have to, you know, make some choice, and these are the hard choices. And
So they're not quite the heart-shaped. I mean, they are heart-shaped, but they're not the real pointy heart-shaped leaf that like a woodland violet would have. But lots of people have this in their garden in town, and they don't know it. And there's a sorority house on, I think it's Washington. That's just their whole yard. That's all it is this.
And you know, the biggest thing that we can do, as you guys can do, and what my big thing is educating people. This is here. If you see it, don't go walking through it.
Right.
You know, people, their dogs come, you know, if they walk by here and, you know, they don't have their dog on the leash, get your dog on the leash when you walk by here. Because this is the infestation zone.
Yeah.
Hey Sarah,
You know,
how
we
about
have-
some signage?
we have
saying,
fly-
you know,
yeah, you ha-
signs. This is garlic mustard area.
Exactly. You have signs up on the bulletin board, make more visible signs. You know, the newsletters, different organizations. I'm trying to get them to put newsletter articles in with pictures, multiple pictures, color pictures, all that literature. You know, I'll leave you guys with some of that, and you guys can give it to different people you guys know. But it's just a big educational campaign, and
It
doing
sure
what we're
is.
doing.
It'll take a while to fill a bag with it this size. Put the bag down. We got plenty, David. Yeah.